It's close. Okay. And so, how many people have been able to drag your parents to a convention? I saw your hand first. Okay. Where are your parents now?
I'm from Silver Springs, so I'm local. So my mom would take me to conventions when I was younger.
Yeah.
And now since I'm older and I can go by myself, she's like, "Yeah, I'm too old for this."
How old are your parents?
My mom is 54, and she's got lots of mobility issues, so it's just easier for her to just send me alone.
Sounds like she needs to be in a Gundam. Has she ever cosplayed?
No.
Do you think one year, for my birthday, I'd really like if you go to a con with me and cosplay something? Would she ever do something like that?
Actually, she probably would.
Hey, okay, when's your next birthday? April. So you got some time to plan. What got her to bring you to conventions? What was she watching you and she's like, I wonder if there's a place where a lot of people get together and everyone cosplays except 2 people. I wonder if there's something I could take them to. Was that her?
It was my friends had went heard about conventions and they went, and I was like, I want to go, and so she's like, all right, let's go.
Right on, that's a nice moment.
Yeah.
How many people here, their parents don't want to come to a convention and don't want them going to a convention? They don't like your happiness. Are there parents in here right now? Parents, okay. No, we went on this side of the room. There's a parent over here. Parent over here. How many parents again? Hi. I'm spilling water. I like your shirt. How many cons have you been to? Since 2014. You're not stopping. You're coming back next year. What's your favorite part of Otakon? The photo shoots, right on. Okay, so do you go participate and take pictures too, or do you to just watch them do their thing? You take pictures. What's your favorite group of cosplaying photo shoots this weekend? It's your favorite thing, but you haven't gone to any. You got things to do. Understood. Well, I'm glad you're here. Have you seen all of Star Trek Continues? That's true. I don't know if Patrick Stewart's going to be in another episode of Star Trek Continues, but it'd be great if he did appear in that. Who's your favorite character in Star Trek Continues? You're not sure? There are many. If you could break it down to top 2, who would your favorite be? Yeah, Spock's okay. He's okay. He's a thinker. Yeah, okay, alright. Is there another parent? I saw parents over here. So you both parents? And both your kids are here? All your kids? How many kids? Just 2? And so, are you guys best friends? Come on up here. Best friends. Leave your phone. It's probably covered with insurance. You can get another one Monday. They'll just transfer everything. They have a machine. They'll do it. Hi, guys. There you go. So, judging by your cosplay, you like a lot of Full Metal Alchemist.
I have a full box set.
Oh, right on. Sorry to hear about that. And so you guys are best friends. How long have you known each other?
Oh god. A little early. No, it was since kindergarten, probably, because Girl Scouts. I don't know. Oh.
So you guys have the Girl Scout cookie hookup?
Yes. Well, maybe.
What are the new flavors coming out? What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie flavor? Thin Mints. Why is everyone's favorite flavor Thin Mints? I like Thin Mints too, so I don't understand why. And the problem is, when you eat, I tell myself I'm going to eat 2 in this sitting. I'm just going to eat 2. But I know I hear the voice in my head saying, you can have the whole thing. Go ahead and just peel it back a little more. Take 5 at a time. I don't do it though, but I hear it in my head.
Why does it pop in your head?
I don't know.
Have you ever frozen them?
That's the only way to do
Okay.
it. That's one of several ways to do it.
Okay.
One is, has anyone made a milkshake with them? Yeah, it's very tasty. How come our ingenuity with making things that are bad for us is so good? Like we don't know how to harness solar power and hydro power and wind power in truly efficient ways, but we know how to take a potato and get drunk off of it.
Sugar's addicting.
Yeah, sugar's a problem. We may not know how to solve cancer, but we can offer you 15 different flavors of rum.
Yeah.
I don't understand. So Thin Mints are like the superstar. The equivalent of that in the fruit world, I would say, is like strawberries. Whenever you go to a restaurant, it's like, oh, it comes with strawberry sauce. Like, why do they win? There's so many fruits. What about papaya? I don't like papaya, but it's like, why isn't that like, this cheesecake is papaya cheesecake.
I mean,
What grade are you guys in?
Going into 11.
Going into it. So you guys have been friends for a long time. What's the biggest fight you've ever had? It's okay, you can say, it's fine.
Oh yeah, we fight. Do you? No, you don't like Snape either. No. Snape from Harry Potter. My other friend, she's like a huge Snape supporter. I don't like him.
I love Snape too. So she likes Snape. You guys don't like Snape?
No.
So, but you guys fought about the fact that you both don't like Snape?
No, we didn't fight over it.
no,
It
it's
was a
like
different
with
friend.
her.
But what's the biggest fight you guys have
I
had?
don't think we fight.
We just get annoyed with each other and then like don't talk about the fact that we're annoyed and
Just-
just like get over it.
So you bottle it up and you build resentment?
Yeah.
Then it comes out in passive aggressive ways, yeah.
We're
That's
not
healthy.
best friends. We're enemies.
I know someone like that in my life. So are you guys going to go to the same high school?
Yeah.
You're pretty positive. Whose grades are better?
Mine.
Well, don't you think she's smart?
Yeah.
You're gonna go to school for like 13 years, so like 13 years of college. I'm going for 4, and then I'm done.
And then you're out.
Yeah, no.
Why don't you want to go beyond?
I don't need to. I don't want to.
Well, oh yeah, what do you want to do?
That's a good question. I don't know yet.
Okay, so maybe leave the door open. You might want to go in a couple of years. I have to say, in college, I've only been in it for a little bit myself, and I'm about to graduate. The food is pretty good.
Yeah, I've done colleges, and the food is always wonderful.
Now, my problem when I first started college a few years ago was the potato bread. I ate a lot of it.
Okay.
It's like an addiction.
Like sugar?
Yeah, bread. You like bread? Why don't vegetables taste like bread? Why is it like, if there's a big chart and the doctor's like, point to the healthiest things on this thing, I'd be like, well, I know it's green. Where's the green stuff? Well, it's bitter, so that's probably the healthiest thing for me. Why don't vitamins taste like gummy bears?
They make them that do. Kind of.
Yeah, but it's not really good for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like kale should taste like sour rose or something. Instead it tastes like the devil. Who said that? You should cosplay as Kale one year. All you have to do is have people around you with a frown on, and it's like, wait a minute, he's Kale. So you're gonna go to school, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A forensic pathologist?
That was my mom. My mom was a pathologist, okay, but specifically in forensics.
Yes.
How come?
So I'm in biomed at my school, and we went to a cadaver lab,
Yes.
and I thought that was pretty fun.
So what is it? So what's it about the dead that you like?
That I can't kill them.
Because they're already dead.
Yeah, so I did the medical side of it, but like you can't make it worse.
So you want to go into a profession that you can't mess up in.
Yeah.
Having been raised in a lab with my mom, you totally can mess up.
I mean,
When you take the brain from the takeout container and you transfer it to the table for examination, you can totally drop that on the ground. But there's a 5-second rule.
But at least they're already dead.
That's true.
Can't hurt them more.
Now, when you look at cadavers, are you thinking like, I could have done that better?
She just says she.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Watch her.
Okay. I'm already scared of her.
So you don't tell her things and you want to fight, and you're already scared of her, but you're best friends.
Yeah, that's
Moms, be on alert. Thank you guys. Good luck. I tried to cut it and it went like a cartoon, like out of the thing. They're really hard. Eyeballs are hard. I tried to cut it. It was very slippery. Well, I was under a time crunch. Someone called the cops, and I was like, oh, I've got 5 minutes. So my hands weren't as steady as they usually are. With my mom, she was a pathologist, and so I would go to work with her because I was raised mainly by babysitters and wolves. And so on the times when I would go to work with her, if you've never smelled formaldehyde, you will never forget the smell once, because she would come home and that would be Eau de Day was her perfume that she wore from work because it was just all over and she couldn't get it off. So I smelled it all the time, every time when she would come home. That's why I'm well preserved. Don't look half bad for 23, do it. And so when I would go to work with her, I would sit in the lab and I would see, because she wanted me to be, how many people have parents like this? They want you to be a doctor or lawyer, especially if you're Asian like me, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you see her there? I saw her Asian hand go, yes. Son, why are you not a doctor or lawyer, son? That's what my mom would always say. And so, what's that?
My mom asked me to be a nurse. I'm Filipino, so
Why don't you be nurse?
No, it's more like, why are you cosplaying right?
Yeah, I had a Filipino babysitter. Todd! Just eat the fish head. A lot of fish heads. I was like, I don't want fish heads. And so I would go to her work, and I'd be just hanging out as a kid, because not that she wanted me to be here to see her world and connect with her, but just because she didn't want to get a babysitter. And so she would go to this big fridge, because it was like around lunchtime. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe mom brought lunch for us. And she brings out a big severed leg. And she sets it on the table. I'm like, that's an interesting lunchbox. And so she starts up a circular saw. And my mom is a little short, 4'10" Asian woman with the typical short Asian haircut. And you know what I'm talking about. And said, you know, don't act like, is it racist for me to know what he's talking about? You know what I'm talking about. It's the Asian haircut that we all have. I had the bowl haircut, although a bowl was never put on my head to achieve it. I have to say, that is a myth in movies. And so she takes the circular saw and she's like, and it's like a deli, and she's like layering the meat. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Meanwhile, she doesn't preface anything. It's not like she says, okay, son, I'm about to go get a leg from this refrigerator and cut it open. It's just like, be right back, son. That's all she tells me. And I'm like 7. And so she brings the leg out, and I'm like, okay. And then so she sets it down, and she takes the meat, and it looks like meat, the same meat that you see in pho. And we eat a lot of pho because we're Asian. Vietnamese. And so I was like, wait a minute, is that the meat in the pho? And then I'm like, well, it does taste good. And that person probably has the other leg anyway. So it's okay. And so she would do that, and then there was a little cart that came up, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is dim sum. Because it is in little takeout containers. No, it's like kidney, lung, brain, you know, what different scalp, whatever it is. And that's her job, and she would look at it under microscopes and stuff like that for her whole life. And she's surrounded by these chemicals and things like that. And so whenever family that they don't know what a pathologist is, they're always like, oh, well, your mom can just be your doctor, right? And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready to see her yet. So that's it. So when I went into acting, because I began acting when I was 10, is a little boy. And so she supported it because she's like, oh, this is like a nice hobby. I'm sure some of your parents support your endeavors that you think are going to be something that you do down the line. And they're like, oh, this is cute. They want to make cakes. That's very nice. And then you go on Cake Wars and you win $10 million. And you make your mom a little middle finger cake. Thanks for supporting me, Mom. But as I got older and I was studying it and I was going to more honors programs for it, and then I was coming right up to college, I was about to make the split. I graduated college, or high school, and I was going to go to LA. And I was going to, boop, time to go to LA. And she goes, if you walk out that door, you're on your own. But if you go to college, I'll take care of you. I was like, oh man, I really want to go to LA. Because I see all the movies that get past all the hard parts and they get right to the success part, and I want to do that. But luckily I stayed and I went to college. And what was great about that for me is the fact that you can totally make mistakes there and it's okay. See, when I make mistakes now, you get one shot and that's it. Like when I went in for a Call of Duty game. And in LA, I don't know if you've heard, there's traffic. But you don't know exactly when you're going to get. You can kind of estimate, but sometimes I leave an hour and a half to get some places that are 14 miles away. That's how much traffic there is, and you just kind of like accept it. It's part of life. And so I was running late to my Call of Duty session, and she almost fired me right there. And I'm like, what? Well, yeah, Mom? And so it's, but she didn't, and I was fine. But it's like, sometimes you get people that are like that. That like when I direct shows, if an actor shows up late, I'm like, well, I get it, it's traffic. But there are some people that don't get it. If that were in college, it would have been cool to make that mistake and learn from it. It's not like, that's fine, blah blah blah. You could be late, because theater people have a big thing about lateness as well. It's, you hear that thing: if you show up on time, you're late. If you show up 5 minutes early, you're on time. It's like, they clearly don't live in LA. That doesn't mean be late. I mean, listen, it's fine. We've got a lot of minutes on this planet. That's bad advice. And so, but yeah, in college I was able to you were able to make mistakes, and you were able to try things that maybe worked or didn't work, and you could figure things out. And that's why when you were talking about college, that you didn't know if you wanted to go. For me, it was very good because 2 reasons. One, the food's pretty good. And a lot of potato bread. And then 2, you can make mistakes. And then 3, there's a cool, how many people are in college right now? Okay, have you guys ever played this? I'm going to tell you about this game, and maybe you can take it back to your colleges and start it up. It's called Mafia Wars. With water guns. You ever heard of this? So how we did it in my school is, so you form teams. And each team is like it's like a mafia type setup, obviously. There's a Don of each family, and then there's a Godfather. So nobody knows who's on what team. So you go around, and let's say we're on an opposing team. You have a water gun. You can only do it outside. How it works is, if we see each other, and I pull out my water gun, you pull out your water gun, and we shoot each other, that's not the end of it. It's whoever can then call the Godfather first and report the kill. So if I can, even though if you shot me first, if I can get to the Godfather first and say, I got shot, I'm safe. So that's part 1. Part 2 is, families can make alliances. And so this really messed up my college year because we were so obsessed with it. I didn't participate in the first one. There are assassins that you can be. So the Godfather, if a family calls in and says, I want to take you out, and I want you out and gone, they would contact me, the assassin, and say, what would it take for you to take her out? And then I would say, well, I want $250 if I do it. And they're like, okay. They'll call the family, see if they're cool with that. Because sometimes people are really, really high well. And so they would hire me, and then I would go take them out. And we'd have a great time. No, I killed them. And so an example of that, just to give you an example. So that's kind of the rough structure of it, and then it whittles down the families. But people got sick, people stayed out late, like there was one time I skipped class. Don't do this. This is, again, it's bad advice. But someone hired me to kill someone they couldn't find this person. It's because he was working for the Dallas Opera House off-site. So he was never around. So they hired me, and I said, I forget what I said, I think it was something like, I want 4 tickets to a big concert that was coming into town. And this is real money, this is, we're college kids. So I went around, I did some research, and I asked some of the teachers, I go, where's Noah at? Where's he at? I need to ask him something. They're like, oh, he's not here, he's over at the Dallas Opera Center, which is like really far from campus. So I got in my car and I drove, and I got to where the Opera House was, but I don't know what building. So I don't know where he parked, where he's coming out of. So I was like, I looked him up online, and I'm like, where is he from originally? Because his car probably has the license plates of the place he's from originally. So I looked in the parking lot, and I'm like, hey, Texas, Indiana. I'm like, okay, so he's parking probably close to that building. This is all happening. So I don't know when he's coming out. If he's there, I don't know. So I go up in the parking garage, and I'm looking down, eagle-eye view of the building that I think he's coming out of. And I'm waiting there for 2 hours. And I'm watching that entrance. And I'm about to give up, and then all of a sudden the door opens. They're on lunch break. All these musicians start coming out. I'm like, no, it's not him, it's not him. I'm like, and my eyes dilated like I just ate a fresh donut. I'm like, there he is. So I run down. You have to picture, you're in your car waiting at a crosswalk, and you see a dude with a giant water gun coming out surreptitiously from the parking garage. So I come up behind him, and I go, tss, and he turns around and he goes, you got me, I ain't even gonna call that in, because it's that much work. Another time I was hired, I just have to say, I was the top winning assassin, and then my family won the next year, and then I eventually became the Godfather. I just have to say, it's hard won. And so there was another time when I was hired as an assassin, and I couldn't get these 2 guys because they were very well coordinated. They had walkie-talkies. They were looking out for each other. They were saying, okay, come out, hold, wait till they pass, come out, let's get you into the... Because the thing is, if you could kill the Don of the family, then the whole family's done. And so they were protecting their person. So I took one of the custodial trash cans, and I put makeup on, and I put a little utility outfit on, I slicked my hair back, and at night, I had my gun in the trash can, and I'm pushing it around outside, just doing my rounds, waiting, because I knew where he lived. He had to get into the dorm. So pushing it around. Well, it's weird to see a janitor pushing it around at like 10 at night, first of all. I didn't think about that part. But someone inside who's watching the entrance tipped him off because they're like, is that Todd? So then I got ambushed, but I got away. That was a failed hit. Then another hit that happened was another guy who was wanting to come into the dorm next door. So I waited in the bushes, in the rain, crouched down for 4 hours. Crouched behind a bush, waiting for this MFer to come into his room. He's driving up and down the street periodically, just looking at the entrance every now and then. And he's like, surely no one's there. So, but here's the problem when you wait behind something for 4 hours crouched down. When it comes time to do it, your legs are fatigued, and there's mud. So I get up, and I slip a little bit. Still got him. I got him. And then one of the tragedy of our team was you can buy turncoats. So if I appeal to you and you're on my team and I don't know about it, someone says, listen, I know you're on this other team. I'll give you this if you help us take your team out. If the deal's sweet enough, they'll do it. So one day, our whole team is one, because we're getting down there, we're the last team, we're one of the last teams. We were at the time the sophomores, I believe, and it was sophomores versus the senior team. And they had their puffed up, they were prideful. And so we're walking as a unit down the street because we're all ready for anything. I mean, cops got involved. Cops were like, there were times when cops had to break stuff up, and this was a real deal. And so we're walking towards the theater school, and there's a little fountain area with multiple door entrances to get inside. And so we're hanging out there, and it's like, okay, we're on a little smoke break, and we're gonna go back inside. Well, the person in our team, one person set us up. So he goes, I'm gonna go inside and go to the bathroom real fast. When he did, people came out of nowhere and held the doors shut so we couldn't get inside, across the entire wall of doors. People came from the other side. It was a bloodbath. We were so mad at that person. My saddest kill, this was a kill that I still feel bad about. So you ever seen Paranormal Activity? So I was dating that girl at the time, Katie, from the movie. And so this was right before she got that movie. So she's sitting, we're doing our thing. And she's sitting in the car next to me, but I've been hired to kill her. And the deal was so sweet. So we got in the car, and she's right here, and I go, this is my face. And she's like, what? Slow-mo. And her face. And then my face. And then the water. She didn't even try to call it in. It was kind of like, how could you? That was a bittersweet win. But the boy part of me was like, yes. But so if you take that back to your colleges and try it, a couple things that happened there still happen. Talking about, people often ask, how do you create opportunities for voiceover and things like that? I tried to create something. We created a student SMU theater group there within the theater department called SMUT, SMUT. Theater. And so we did that, and then I created a music festival to showcase musical talents of the other collegiate folks there within the program, and that's still going on today. So your colleges, that's another place where you can create programs that help each other and provide outlets for different experiences and exploring these things that you want to do. Because a lot of times people are like, I don't know what I want to do. I want to be in the entertainment industry, but it's such a big industry, I don't know exactly what I want to do. That's where places like that, where you can create things like that and see if you want to be a writer, an editor, an actor, a photographer, an artist, etc. And it's all, everyone supports each other. So that's another reason why I'm like, hey, college is pretty cool. They don't give it away oftentimes. But if you can get a scholarship, hey. I mean, I had a sweet 0.2 GPA. No, it was more than that. I had some scholarships. But so yeah, that's where a lot of fun stuff happened. Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
Yes, so what I want to know is when you go into record fairy tale, that anime has a lot of yelling, so let's say that you're doing a fire dragon roar scene. How many things do you do for that?
One. It depends. If it's a really long yell, I'll try to get it in one, but sometimes, if you think about, sometimes the yells are like 9 seconds long. So it's like, that long of a full-blown yell. Sometimes I just don't have the unleaded in me to do it. 91 octane only. And sometimes we have to revisit it. There are some yells that just break me. And I don't know how the Seiyu does it. It's impressive. That Seiyu that does Natsu also does the protagonist in Saint Seiya, which I just directed and just came out. Because as I was watching, I'm like, why does his voice sound so familiar? And then when he got to an attack, where he's calling out his moves like all smart heroes do, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Natsu. And so it depends on the yell. Especially now that we're going to be gearing up for the last little bit here of Fairy Tale before the basically Fairy Tale Super. I gotta get back into yelling. It's been a minute. And so it's gonna take some warming up a little bit here, because I've done other. I get in trouble when they talk about the things I'm in that aren't out yet. There's some things coming out where I'm like, wow, there's a lot of yelling in that. And that helped. But you know, the Natsu yell, the extra virgin olive oil yelling, it's been in it. Let's see, another question? Yes?
Alright, so Nazi Wars were basically a 19-year-old mafia crime family in college.
But pretty much, yeah.
Use that as experience to then play a 19-year-old mafia crime family in college.
That's a good point. I took that experience along with the fact that I have family from New York, and I basically just hung around my New York grandma, who is the stereotypical grandma who is scared of everything and wants to tell you how great New York is over every other place. And just a little bit of that hanging around them, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's talk about immortality and green suits. I wish I had a green suit, but it looks best animated. I don't think I could pull it off in real. Isn't that funny? Like sometimes you see things that are animated and you're like, that wouldn't look as good in real life. Like when I read comics, I'm like Fantastic Four. If it were animated, I feel like we would buy it more than when we see it in live action. The thing in live action, you're just like, I know he's a stretchy man, I know she turns invisible, I know he's a human match, I'm just not buying the rock guy. What is our crazy set of rules for movies? We're like, oh, you can't tell that's Clark Kent and Superman? Yes, I know he flies in blue and red underwear, but... Anyway, let's see another question. Yes, on the end.
Hi.
Oh, you first and then you.
Okay, how you doing?
You know what? I'm surviving.
All right. Fourth time meeting you. And,
Fourth time saying I love you.
Yes, okay. Before my question, here's some advice. Next time you yell and your throat is hurting, I recommend some tea with lemon and honey, no sugar.
I just take the lemon, squeeze, tea leaves, and then sugar, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Anyway, my question. Of course, as far as I remember, I love voiceovers and all, and I want to start though, but I don't know exactly where to begin. So do you have any advice to give me? Or anyone here who wants to voiceover as well?
Well, the interesting thing about that is that everyone's story is different, how they get into it. My story is different from how Chris Sabat got into it, how Sean Schimmel got into it, etc. And I think what's tricky about voiceover is that there really isn't a linear path to it. Like when you become a doctor. You go to college, medical school, residency, physician. There's a clear like boom, 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 boom. Your skill tree is very static. With acting, and it drives me crazy. Sometimes you see like, oh, she's a model? Let's give her her own movie. You know, you see that. Like Suicide Squad. That girl that was the bad guy, she's a model. Yeah, sure, go ahead and star in a DC movie. That sounds good. I mean, I've only been acting for 13 years, but that's fine. 23-year-old guy right here, it's fine. A little bit longer than that. Maybe. But you know what I mean? So you see people like that. But then you see people who are like, well, this is the husband of the wife that is producing this movie, so now he's a star. Then you see people that are like, they've been training acting all their lives, and they've been acting and acting and acting and acting, and then they don't hit it till 44. And then they become a huge star. That person's name is Steve Bloom. He didn't start voiceover until he was 44 years old. And then he hit it. So, with Cowboy Bebop. And so, everyone's story is different. So it's like, I guess, the one bit of advice that works for me is just getting training, as much training as you can with acting. Just acting in general. Because voiceover, it's so funny when you see these reports that are like, you get these casting notices, it's like, we want real people, we don't want actors. Or you see it on commercials, these are real people, not actors. Like we're in some kind of like farm and we're like picked off a vine and like shaking it. Todd's seeds are good, he's ready. It's like, you know, it's, people separate it from other styles of acting. It's all acting. It's just with our voices. And then stage acting is with everything. And film acting is more with subtle movements. It's all different. It's just all different style. But getting as much exposure with that as possible is the thing that's worked for me. Because I've had the fortune of acting in pretty much every medium. And so it's something that, you know how they say you need 10,000 hours of experience before you're like kind of the mastery level of something? It's like, yeah, I feel like that's true. That is true. It's just something about the rote exposure to something again and again and again. For example, like, I'm very good at receiving rejection. A lot of women have said no when I've asked them out on dates. And so like when I transition into acting and I hear a no from a casting director, I'm like, Sally just told me no yesterday. So it's stuff like that. It's just getting that exposure to acting. And in a variety, you know, as you build that, you start to learn little, you know how you always hear like, these are the things that they can't teach you in school. There are some things like that, just little things that you begin to craft your own path in that specific area of the world, you know? So I would say just getting as much acting experience as possible. Starting with stage is the most nutritious acting for me, because it requires you to do a lot of homework on your character building. It's a mind-body connection, using your physical self, your voice, creating a character. It's the kale of acting. But hopefully no frowns. So that's what I would say. Let's see. Someone, yes, ma'am. Oh wait, you were after her, and then I'll come to you. Hi. Yes.
So I have a question and then a really non-controversial request. Question first is, I'm building my resume right now, my acting resume, working with community theaters, but I'm trying to start working on, I guess, narrations.
Oh, audiobook narration.
Yeah, and I'm trying to work on my home studio. Do you have any recommendations for equipment at home? You're going to have to be working on your demo tape, and you're not going to send yourself off, or just when you're going to be, if you're already hired and you need to have the equipment.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, it depends on your budget. You know, I mean, there's gear out there for every single bit of budget. Now, there is a threshold that if you go lower than a certain amount of money, you're wasting your money, I feel. Because I have a lot of mics, I've worked on a lot of different setups. It just takes, you know, you do a lot of Google searching for best home studio gear. There's a lot of reputable companies, pretty much. I would say, mic-wise, honestly, for me, when you want to, anything under $1,000 is, 1,000 and up is where you want to hover for mics, I feel like. And it's interesting because people don't want to, they want the best tasting cake, but they don't want to use the best ingredients. That's not how that works. So it's like, you can't make a car that's going to be worth $100,000 if you only put $1,000 worth of parts in it. You know what I mean? It's like it does take money to do it. Because you're competing, the thing with voiceover is you're competing with people all over the country of varying degrees. Like Rob Paulson's a hero of mine. I love Rob. We're good buddies. He was Yakko, and he's one of the original Turtles, and he's one of the Ninja Turtles right now. But we compete.
Actually, he's the voice director of the current Turtles.
And one of them. Yeah. Yeah.
I know the previous one, he was one of them also.
Yeah, and he is in the current, yeah. And so I'm competing with him. And so like you have someone that's been in the business as long as he has, and I'm competing with that. And then I'm also competing with Troy Baker. I'm competing with Travis Willingham. I'm competing with Max Middleman, Ray Chase, and we're all competing. So you have to have, I mean, it's not, the gear doesn't make you, but it will detract from you if it's not at a certain level, at the very least, you know. So in terms of demos and things like that, if you are not skilled with Pro Tools and editing, I would go seek out a producer. Seek out somebody that will do it for you. Unless you have a very, very good, accurate self-image about what your strengths are. You know, because a lot of people, if you want to, here's for people that want to see where they are and where their self-image at, watch a movie with a friend and tell your friend at the beginning of the movie, At the end of the movie, tell me which character you think I'd be best as in this movie. And then you do that to yourself and then see what your answers are at the end. And that's a good way to hone that kind of stuff, I would say. We have time for 2 more questions. I had one right over. Yes, ma'am.
My question is you share a coat with me?
There is. You know what? We have to get a picture of that coat together. Okay, run on up here. Let's do it. You're going to be in my selfie.
I'm really sorry, but like non-kosher request, I was in the autograph line for a couple hours yesterday, but didn't get to see it. I have something to get autographed from my dad.
Yes. What's your dad's name? Where's Wayne?
He's not making it this time. He'll probably see you at another smaller one.
Do you have a marker with you? While you're coming around, you come up here. Yeah. Wayne. I know this guy. Tell Wayne hello. Make sure he watches all the videos. All right, here we go. We got it. Thank you. We got our Todd beverage here as proof. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my goodness, thank you. Cheers. Is there any kale in it? Okay, good. Let's do it. Oh, you know what? We're gonna do a mystical selfie because we don't know what's going to happen. We may end up with superpowers. Okay, here we go. Boom. No screen. Thank you. I have one final request, if you guys don't mind. We need to do one big final fire dragon roar. Okay? I'm gonna get a video after I finish editing myself out of this picture because I don't like the way I look. I look just horrid. I apologize about that. Okay, so I'm gonna get our video set up. Here we go. It's on Instagram if you guys want to see it. It will be on Instagram. Boom. Okay, here we go. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, fire! Thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna go do autographs. I love you all.